Hi Display Week! Welcome to episode 3 of Movie Night with Nanosys, the quantum dot company. I'm Jeff Urich, Director of Marketing at Nanosys. We're halfway through Display Week 2020, and I'm back with another movie recommendation to wrap up your day. I've been conducting some research on the use of BT.2020 colors in UltraHD HDR movies. Each night this week, I'm posting a new recommendation for a film that features a significant amount of visible BT.2020 color, along with some analysis and my favorite scenes. Before we get started with tonight's film, I'd like to give special thanks to Vizio SmartCast for sponsoring this research and video series. The content featured here is available on Vizio's SmartCast platform, and I've found the latest 2021 Vizio P Quantum X TVs are really the best place to watch them, since they deliver more BT.2020 color gamut than any other TV we've measured, with over 85% coverage of the spec. Please be sure to hit the subscribe button and tune back in for future episodes. Now, on to the feature. Tonight, we're watching The Amazing Spider-Man II, a superhero movie released in 2014, starring Andrew Garfield, Emma Stone, and Jamie Foxx. It's not the best superhero movie that you'll ever watch, but it's plenty entertaining and features a really cool looking and not coincidentally out of Gamut bad guy, played by Jamie Foxx. So I think it's a worthwhile addition to our list. As a fun fact, this Spider-Man movie was shot 100% in New York City and apparently was the largest film production in New York City history. Like The Matrix, The Amazing Spider-Man II was shot on 35mm film and scanned in at 4K, so this is a truly native 4K title. This is really evident to me at least, really fine kind of film grain that you can see throughout the movie. Let's dive into the analysis by checking the available HDR metadata. Based on what we see here, it's pretty safe to assume that the Spider-Man movie was mastered on Dolby's incredible Pulsar display. I'm not aware of any other 4,000 nit display that's in wide use in Hollywood. The Pulsar is a liquid-cooled RGB LED full array beast. I'm not sure I can overstate this. Watching content on a Pulsar is a life-changing experience. Truly mind-blowing, and if you ever get the chance to do so, don't miss it. Dolby does not publish specs for this display, but it's a grade 1 reference monitor, so we know it's at least 100% DCI-P3, and given the RGB LED architecture, it's not a stretch to assume that it can natively produce a somewhat wider gamut than P3. Let's see what the filmmakers did with this thing. Time to fire up HDR Master 8K and take a closer look at that data. Here we're looking at a plot of the peak color saturation of every frame in the film. Amazing Spider-Man 2 is nearly 2.5 hours long, so there are over 200,000 frames here. It's tied with the film we'll be looking at on Friday for the longest in this series. The average peak saturation across those frames is 102% of DCI-P3. The highest saturation of any frame in the film is 143% of DCI-P3. The first two titles we looked at had significantly higher scores, but this movie really uses wide color where it counts, and we'll find that when we look at the clips later. Again, we're only looking at pixels in the 1 to 100 nit luminance range here. This helps assure that we're only considering colors in the heart of the visible range, ignoring wild highlights, dark shadows, and many possible encoding errors. The first clip I want to show you is the reveal of Electro's face. This is a really dramatic sequence, and you can see that his face is almost entirely outside of P3. Let's watch it again in slow motion with a heat map. False color indicates portions of the frame that are beyond P3. The orange-red areas are greater than 125% of P3, all in the 1 to 100 nit range. You see not just Electro's face, but the brake lights in the cars behind him are in 2020 as well. Next, we have some great establishing shots of New York City and Times Square that show up the city lights in BT.2020. And of course, some intense fight sequences with our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man there to rescue the day in the end. Again, the heat map and false colors are added by us. That's all for tonight. Tomorrow we're staying with the New York City theme and bringing back our old friend Keanu. Thanks again to Vizio SmartCast for sponsoring this research, and see you tomorrow.